Hey friends, Shay here. So let's talk about what I want to get read by the end of the year. So in this video, I've got 10-ish books that I'd like to get read before the end of 2025. Some of them are pulled from other lists that I hoped to get to this year. Others are just ones that I've acquired since, and I'm really interested in actively reading right now. So let's go ahead and dive into this list. I do only have 4 of them physically. Some of them I have on audio and others I'll be checking out from the library, but these are the 10 books I would love to get read by the end of 2025. So let's start with the 4 physicals that I actually own. So first up here we have Gravity by Bauer. I have started this. I am going to be annotating it, so it will take me a little bit longer because of my problems with my hands. As I've talked about in a previous video, if you missed it, I'll leave it linked in the corner. But Gravity by Bauer is a hockey romance. It is a male-male romance, and this does tie in to my favorite book of last year. And I do think this has an ability to possibly dethrone it because there is a lot of French language built into the culture of the story. And being someone who has a very rich French heritage, like, it just calls to me. I took French classes in high school. My teacher was eternally frustrated with me because I would just slack off because I understood it so well. And so she was eternally frustrated with me. Once again, I am very sorry. But I am very excited. This follows Bryce and Hunter. They are 2 hockey players who end up on the same team. Things like that. So very, very excited. Or are they on rival teams? I think they end up on the same team, but they were rivals before that, if I remember right. I could be wrong. They might stay on separate teams. Again, I've only read like the first chapter of this, so I'm barely into it, but I am very excited to continue. Bauer is a fantastic writer, and I know I'm just going to devour this when I let myself have the time for it. So the next up are the next 2 books in a series that I read just in October, and that is the Lucky River Ranch series. So I have Wyatt, which is book 2, and Sawyer, that's book 3. I really loved the writing of the first book, and I really liked the setup of the ranch. So they set up this one at the end in the epilogue of Cash. So I'm very excited to get to Wyatt. And I'm assuming they're going to do a similar thing with Sawyer. And we have already met these 2 in the first book because these are brothers of Cash. Cash is the oldest, and then these are his younger brothers. So again, very, very excited. I do like how the faces are kind of blurred in a way. There's just like some very casual things that are noticeable in their faces, but otherwise you just kind of get to imagine it yourself, and that works well for me for illustrated covers like these. But I did get the ones with the gorgeous sprayed edges to match Cash. So again, very, very excited to continue these. And then the last one that I do have physically is the Door-to-Door Bookstore by Kirsten Henn. This is a very different vibe from the previous 2. This is a literary fiction, there's a small town German bookseller. He delivers his books to special customers. And I just think it's going to be a really sweet, really fun, kind of cozy story. So I am very, very excited to read this. It's one of the shorter ones that I have picked out. So I'm hoping to get to this one relatively soon. Alrighty, so let's get to the ones that I don't have yet. I will just insert pictures here of them. So the first one I have here is Fireheart by Emma Pham. I have read other stories by Emma Pham and really enjoyed her writing. And this is a dragon romantasy. And finding good dragon romantasy has felt hard for me recently. And so I really wanted to give this one a try since it's an author where I know I like their writing. So I'm very, very excited to finally be getting to this one. This one I've had checked out from Kindle Unlimited for quite a while. So I'm hoping once again to get to this one very soon. The next one here is a little more in line with Door-to-Door Bookstore, and that is The Women by Kirsten Henn. This is a Vietnam War centered historical fiction. I have not read anything based in the Vietnam War for my historical fiction. Kirsten Henn is a fantastic historical fiction writer. So I'm very excited to finally get around to this one. Next I have Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. Everything I've read by Jennifer Saint I've enjoyed. I do have the audio for this one, and I think it's going to be my next one because my current audio is the next one on this list, which is Thaumaturge by Terry Mancour. This is book 11 in the Spellmonger series. This is a series I've slowly been chipping away at. It's one of my spouse's favorite series of all time. And there is a lot to be said about how this story develops. I do think early on in the series, I was much less invested in the characters. I felt like the way they thought about the world didn't align with mine. But my spouse said, just keep going, give it a couple more books and that'll change. And he's correct. I feel like the characters have really developed into people I can love and enjoy. I really appreciate where they're at in their lives now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how Thaumaturge works out, because there was a lot that happens in book 10 that are huge ramifications for the story moving forward. So I'm really excited to see where that shift takes us. Next I have Rift of the Soul by Faith Hunter. Again, this is one that I have on audio. I've had it for quite a while. I do also have this one on NetGalley, so I'm most likely getting to it in November because I'm doing a soft NetGalley November. I didn't really do like a reset or like a November TBR just because I've been focused on wanting to do other things. So this is kind of my end of the year TBR. And so yes, I am softly doing a NetGalley November situation. So Rift of the Soul will most likely be read because of that. This is book 5 in a series by Faith Hunter that I've really been enjoying. Very, very excited. The next one I have here is Day of the Duchess. Granted, I don't read a lot of historical romance these days, but this one was a recommendation from Izzy over at Happy for Now. And she's like, even when I wasn't loving historical, I still loved this one. And this is by Sarah McLean. Everything I've read by Sarah McLean I've really enjoyed. So I do think I will enjoy this one. I do believe this is it's either a divorcee romance or it's like a marriage in trouble romance. I forget which. I want to say marriage in trouble. Again, I don't remember at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. And then the last one I have here is the first book in the Mark of the Fool series. Again, this is another one that's a recommendation from my spouse where he wants me to read all of his favorites so that he has someone to talk to them about, because he doesn't have, he doesn't want an online platform to talk to everybody about things. So I am kind of that human for him. So I'm very much looking forward to giving this one a try. This is a high fantasy series, big chunky books, and there's quite a few books out. I don't know if the series is over, or if it's still or if there's still going to be more in the future. I'm not 100% sure. So that is everything that I have in store for the rest of the year. I will read other things, of course, but these are the ones that are my priority focuses. So we'll kind of see how November goes on getting a lot of these worked down. Like I said, I'm actively reading Thaumaturge right now, but that is a giant chunky audiobook. So we'll see what else I can get to this month where physically reading is hard with my hands. So I believe that's 11 books. Let me do a quick count. That is 11 books. This is why I said 10-ish. So I'm saying 10 before the end just because I'm kind of considering Wyatt and Sawyer the same line because it's getting current in that series before the next one comes out. I believe that's coming out early 2026. I believe the next one's Duke. But yes. Anyways, thank you so much for checking out this video. I know it's kind of simple, but if you're here just because you love me, leave me a horseshoe emoji for Lucky Rivers Ranch series. And that's it. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.